What's up, everybody? I'm Michael Chris, 3 years running bestseller at ShineOn. Now I'm the CMO of ShineOn. I wanted to thank you so much for checking out our YouTube video. And if you like this kind of content, I want you to like, subscribe, hit that notification bell, and I hope you enjoy the video. Jim, I'll let you run us through the testing methods here, and you just tell me when you're ready to flip a slide or whatever. Take her
Okay.
away.
Yeah. So this is kind of a variation of what we did on the shot of espresso for last week around budgeting. So if I won't spend time on like proper budgets or that, if we had a video on shot of espresso there. So if you really want to dive into like, I think it's a 30-minute long video about budgeting and what works for you, definitely go and look at that video. This is more of a bumped up version of the one a couple of slides ago, right? Where you were talking about penny slots doing $5 a day on an ad set level. So you can run as an ABO, $25 a day, the exact same audience, duplicate it, because as long as it's in the same niche, right? So if you're mastering that niche, every audience should be the same audience or very, very similar audience if you really, get freaked out about the auction overlap or whatever. And then all you're really testing in this is the phrases, right? So I'm phrase testing. So therefore my ads change. That's why you see phrase 1, 2, 3, 4, but the audience stays the same. So you can run this test as either an ABO or a CBO. And the shot of espresso that we covered, our current methodology is a 1-1-1 CBO. So one campaign, one ad set, one ad, and then we duplicate the campaign. So this is a slight variation. Same exact psychology or methodology behind it. It's just instead of a CBO, multiple campaigns, it's one campaign as an ABO.
Now, let me ask do you so you've got your one ABO campaign, and then inside it are housed all your ad sets, right? And
Correct.
each ad set is basically a new phrase that you're
Correct.
testing. So do you keep this open for days and weeks, meaning like you're just turning stuff off, and every time you have a new phrase, you're going in there and loading up the new phrase and just letting the campaign itself compile data over several weeks? Or is this more a thing where it's like you kind of get the 5 phrases you want to test, and you create the campaign and you run through the test on the 5 all simultaneously, then you turn it off and create a new one later? How are
I
you
think it
doing?
depends. So if I'm coming at this from a seller standpoint, right, that it depends on how you're approaching the challenge, really. So if you're going to do your one a day sort of, I'm going to do one phrase and I'm going to do one phrase testing each day, then I would use this as my hub, like the ABO campaign is my testing hub. And then every day that I'm adding that new phrase to test, I'm just adding one new ad set, whatever it is. We personally, we do a bunch of prep work first and have a set of 30 phrases that we want to test at one time. So then when we set our test up, it's all 30 phrases at the exact same time. And then we have our sort of catches that we turn off. If we don't have a link click after this much spend and it's above $4, we turn it off. If we spend $25 with no add to carts, we turn it off. If it's after $50 and we're not profitable, we turn it off. So that allows, even though we're still running at $25 a day, we're letting it run for at least 2 full days. If you got like sale 1 on day 1, run it day 2. Did it get another sale? If it did, fantastic. Then that goes into, all right, let's see what we can do with that particular phrase. So I guess it just depends on how they approach the challenge.
I just want to take a quick minute too to identify what our acronyms are. A lot of people are still new to ABO, CBO. So what we're talking about here, ABO is ad budget optimization, which means that the budget for your ad is optimized at the ad set level. Now, CBO is where the budget is optimized at the campaign level. CBO is campaign budget optimization. So it's just the difference of how the budget is allocated. That's the best way I can probably describe it. But that's
it's
just where you set the budget.
Without a better visual, I worry about confusing people more, but I'm going to try it anyway. If this is an ad set budget optimization one, you can see the budget is set at the ad sets, right? So each of these ad sets will get $25 a day spend. But if it were a CBO campaign, you set your budget right here. So let's say you had a $25 a day CBO campaign, then your campaign is going to choose where to allocate the budget based on the performance of each individual ad set. So it'll take that $25 and spread it out across all of the ad sets.
Correct.
So, all right, ready for the next one?
Yes, go ahead.
All right, let's do it.
All right, so this is a variation. Actually, I need to update that slide, but anyway. So this is a slight variation that we're testing more on a scaling phase right now, but I think it could work just fine for testing too. So what it is you have a CBO campaign, and let's say we're going to test 20 phrases at one time, and we were going to budget $25 a piece if we were going to do our ABO setup. So instead of having each ad set say, okay, you're $25, you're $25, we go 20 phrases times $25 equals 500. That's the total account spend on that campaign for the whole day. And that's what we set our campaign budget as. Okay. And then so we're budgeting, we're telling Facebook we're willing to spend up to $500 a day across all of our 20 ad sets. And then each ad set has a duplication in the ad. So it's the exact same ad. It's just duplicated one time. It's a little bit more, this method is a little bit more advanced for brand new people. Totally agree with that. In the ad set, there's a setting on a CBO campaign. If you're editing the ad set level, you can set a minimum amount of spend that you want. And I would set, with this budgeting, I would set it at $5 per ad set. Now, that forces Facebook to spend at least $5 a day at each ad set level, and then it can choose. And I do that on purpose because if we don't set that minimum amount, Facebook a lot of times, especially nowadays, will just pick one or two audiences and just dump all the budget, regardless of performance. So by requiring Facebook to spend a minimum of $5 a day on each ad set, then that gives Facebook a better visual, a better a collection of data across all of the ad sets, and then it has a better luck of optimizing correctly.
So I have a question for you related to CBO and iOS 14.
Yes.
So since tracking is kind of jacked, at least in Ads Manager, are you finding CBO campaigns doing well anymore?
Honestly, in my recent testing, I found that CBO is working better than ABO longer term. So what we've seen and what I've seen in Ads Manager over the hundreds and hundreds of tests that we've run over the last few months is ABO seems to work well on day one. And then it might work a little bit on day two, but then by day 3, day 4, it dies. And I don't know if that's, I'm guessing it's because, one, the budgets that we're setting on our ad sets are too small for it to gather. It'll never gather 50 conversions, purchases in 1 week. So Facebook, after 3 or 4 days, tends to give up on it. So by putting that budget all on the campaign level, you're giving that budget more opportunities to optimize to the things that are going to work the best. So I'm actually seeing CBO work better overall. Now, mind you, we do have our own tracking solutions, right, that we talked about on previous Shots of Espresso, where I'm not looking at Ads Manager to make my optimization decisions. I'm looking in UTM tag data to make those decisions.
Yeah, make sure you check out Jim's Shots of Espresso, Jim and Zappy's Shots of Espresso. I think it was called How to Win the War on Ad Tracking, where he goes into exactly how you can set up the tracking yourself for free. It's a totally free solution. And you can see, basically, we solved the tracking issue 100%, where you get near 100% accurate tracking from your ads. The platform's got it built in already in the product analytics. You can look at UTM metrics. And then on Shopify, it's a little more difficult to get to, but it's in there. You got to click through 3 or 4 menus to kind of find it. But if you use UTM tracking, you basically solve the tracking issue 100%.
Yep. And we're chugging ahead on trying to figure out the attribution side too. And we might have some progress there in the nearish future. A lot of testing has to be done on it though.
Yeah. But that doesn't mean you can't just be the algorithm.
Correct.
This is what I've always wanted to default to anyway, is like, since the tracking issue is solved, you can optimize your own ads. You don't have to necessarily depend on Facebook.
Correct.
Don't get me wrong. Their optimization can help, right? I'm not trying to diminish that. However, if you have your own tracking problem solved, you're in the game, right?
Yep.
As long as you can see which ad is performing well for you and which audience and that kind of thing, you can maximize that. So anyway, you can become your own algorithm. All right, so I want to just reiterate before we move on a couple things.
Mm-hmm.
Pick 1 or 2 Facebook testing methods and then stick to those through the entire contest. Do not be jumping around all over the place.
Right.
You're going to be spinning your wheels. And 9 times out of 10, especially if you're new, the testing process is not the issue. It is the product and the phrase and the market fit. I guarantee it, right? 9 times out of 10. So spend all your time troubleshooting there, not with your testing method. The next thing I want to say is, if you're not into the Facebook side of things, that's okay too. Everything we've talked about here, with the exception of the Facebook stuff, can be done on Etsy, right? Mm-hmm. Get those designs up on Etsy. Get the 100 designs up on Etsy. Make sure you're doing your keyword research and things like that, and you're kind of SEO optimizing each of your listings so you have a good chance of success. Keep in mind that in Q4, millions of buyers get activated, tens of millions of buyers. Christmas in the United States is a compulsory gift-giving holiday. Like, you're not just buying one gift. You're buying gifts for your entire immediate family, most of your extended family, and a good chunk of your friends, right?
Yep.
You've got a lot of gifts to purchase. Most people, as soon as they're like, oh crap, it's after Thanksgiving and I still haven't bought a gift for XYZ family member or whatever, they're going to be going to known platforms like an Amazon and Etsy, things like that, to be doing a lot of their buying. Get your stuff on there early so you have time to get optimized inside those search engines, and that your product is showing up when all these buyers start to rush into these digital stores to make their purchases. If you're on the Facebook side, there's still plenty of coin to be had. New millionaires are made literally every single year just by selling on Facebook alone. So Facebook is still where we like to encourage everybody to go. There's no other place like it when it comes to scale. I've never seen anybody go from 0 to 6 figures inside of like 48 hours, except on Facebook. I mean, it is literally where you can do just mind-blowing numbers. So all paths are viable here. If you can do all 3, Amazon, Etsy, and Facebook, I would encourage that, quite honestly. Don't completely box yourself in. If you've got to pick one and you've got the testing budget, Facebook is a great, great place to be. If you don't have that kind of budget, Etsy is another fantastic place to be. Hey, Michael here again. Thank you so much for checking out today's video. If you like the content, make sure you like, subscribe, hit that notification bell. And there's one more thing I want you to do. Check out the links in the description below. I want you to look at the link to ShineOn.com where you can sign up and become a seller with us today. It literally takes 60 seconds and it could change your life. Secondly, I want you to go to our Facebook group. It's the most engaged e-commerce group on the planet. We're constantly sharing important tips, tricks, and things like that that can help you on your seller journey and level up your e-commerce game. Thank you so much for watching the video, and I hope you have a great one. Take care.